Joining with us this morning is Abang Mansyursyah Surya Nugraha, a geologist at the Nanyang Technology University Singapore Observatory. We will also talk with Sekolah Bumi Vice Chairman Risa Triandari. Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Okay. So let's just jump into our first question. We will start with Abang first. So since the beginning of 2022, more and more or less 21 earthquakes have been actually recorded, and they were above 5 magnitude. So what actually caused these frequent earthquakes in your point of view?
Yes, so of course it's related to geology, as you have said before. But I think it's in Indonesia, it's very special place because before that, we need to know what causing the earthquakes.
Yes.
One of the main thing is of course because of the plate tectonics movement. So if we are thinking about the Earth, you can imagine that if Earth or the place where we stay right now, the outer layers, or what we call as Earth crust, is just like the eggshells. So if you, for example, like just knock the boiled eggs, it will create the cracks, right? But now in Earth, you're thinking it's dynamic. So it's like the cracks or the eggshells is moving like that. So in Indonesia especially, is in the area where there are lots of cracks. So what I mean is a crack is like the plate tectonics itself. And Indonesia is located or situated at the 3 major plates. And if these 3 major plates like moving or like slides each other, or they're like hit each other, or like they collide each other, it will create what we can feel as earthquakes. So back to the main question. So what causing these earthquakes is because of the movement of the plate tectonics, or what I said as a crust of plate tectonics.
Right, Abang.
So
We've
that's the easiest thing. Is like I want to think like is a eggshells that is moving.
Right, so we're gonna try to simplify it for those of us that are like me, that maybe are hard to grasp or wrap our heads around it. Yeah. We have a map here that pretty much shows the different places. I'm gonna try to get the names up here. See if we can. There you go. Wait.
There
we
go.
go.
Yep.
So we have all the different plates from North America, Pacific, Eurasian, and this is where we're situated here around the Indo-Australian plate. Now I'm seeing that there's a lot more yellow lines. Is this part of the reason why? Because there's just so many different parts where the plates are connected. Is this part of the reason why these are the earthquakes are more frequent then?
Correct. So the yellow part is representing the boundaries of the plate tectonics.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if that boundaries are moving, so it will make earthquakes. Okay. That's for simples.
Okay.
And you can see that in Indonesia, you can see there are lots of yellow lines. So it means there are lots of boundaries, and also indicating that lots of earthquakes happens in Indonesia as well.
Okay. Now, Paul, I noticed that you're standing right there, so you need to help me click the southeast
Sure.
southeast countries, maybe. And Abang, can you explain or about the plates affect our planet?
Here we're looking at, you mentioned the several ways the plates can move. So how are these, because there's a slip, as you mentioned, collision, spreading, and subduction. Can you explain what's usually happening in this area here that I just clicked?
In this area in Indonesia, there are 3 different boundaries. So there's a convergence, and then divergence, and then strike slip. So there are 3. The convergence is like, moving, colliding each other, and then divergence is like moving away, and then strike slips is like pass each other. And especially in Indonesia, as you can see later, you can check in there. Mm-hmm. We are mostly has the convergent boundaries, which is the subduction. So if you're thinking about the
Okay, let me try to click that. Yeah, that's right. All right.
Got it.
Good job. Thanks for your help. I would never have gotten that. Okay, so this is why the reason
So
for the
you can see,
Krakatau
yeah,
eruption.
there's a picture in there how the crust is moving each other. So we
Right.
have a oceanic and also continental crust, and also that's you can see the pictures how that also related to the volcanoes in Indonesia. That's why
Let's
Indonesia
actually do
also
one more
famous
since
in
we
the
got
ring
you
of fire.
since we did that one right. Let's go a little bit farther out. Let me
Oh,
see if I can
really getting to the
if
game.
I can if I
obviously.
can get out of this somehow.
Maybe you can
This has a
see
little
the
volcano
famous,
logo on it, so I'm gonna click on it. This is the Eurasian plate.
Was
Excuse
that
me.
you,
I
right?
keep clicking too many times. I'll make a horrible weatherman. Okay, so which was the tectonic plate interaction that caused the Mount Fiji eruption? If we look at it here, this going that way.
Maybe you can try. We'll find out.
You want to guess this one, Rahma? What do you think?
Collision?
I am going. You think it's collision? I'm going to go with subduction. Which one should we go for?
Subduction?
All
would
right.
be
Yes.
okay?
Let's try it again.
You
Yes,
got it right. Yay. Very
You get
good.
it right.
Okay.
So this is a very fun way of learning.
Yeah.
You know, this is very interesting. Right. Now,
Yes.
we're still gonna talk about this. I'm gonna keep you for a while there. Don't go anywhere. Let's go to Marisa from Sekolah Bumi. So, Marisa, can you actually briefly tell us about your school, which is Sekolah Bumi?
Okay, so Sekolah Bumi has the word school in it, sekolah, but it is not actually a formal or physical school per se.
Right.
The Sekolah Bumi is actually the name we choose to label this entity that we first started as a movement, actually, a movement or an social organization that encourages, professional geologists to give back to the community, encouraging the geologists to, help inspire and educate the elementary school students at that time to get to know, to introduce geology better.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. At the first.
Marisa, first of all, why did you and your team at Sekolah Bumi choose geology as your focus? And
Yeah.
what is the importance of geology, especially for kids?
So Sekolah Bumi was actually founded by a number of alumni from Bandung Institute of Technology, which were majoring in geology.
Okay.
So yeah, we're
ITB,
the
yeah?
people who studied it, and we want to know. Yeah, so I think the first and foremost is, as a nation, we have to understand how significant or special our geology is in Indonesia. It impacts the economy, it impacts our safety, it impacts our livelihood, and I think we have to introduce more to the general public audience, especially to the little ones, about geology.
Of course.
We
Of
want
course.
we want to make it more, from the little kids to know geology better
More
since
better,
the beginning of
yes.
early age.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they further their study, they already understand in the back of their mind what geology is, and they know that they can be a geologist one day and help understand the situation in our country and help to get everything better in terms of economy and livelihood and etc.
Of course.
Nice.
No, it's very interesting because Marisa, obviously, I'm just gonna say it out loud here once again. Obviously, my kid, she likes to collect rocks and
Yep.
stuff. And then when she asked me, "Mummy, what type of mineral does this rock have?" and
Right.
so on and so on, I can't tell. So I think I need to have a course with you so I can actually answer her
Right.
question. Now, obviously, Marisa, how big is public interest in geology specifically, and what do you do to make geology more interesting for your students? Especially for the young ones, maybe if you have.
I think the public interest is quite high, but sometimes the public can still not distinguish, geology from geography.
All right, yes.
and
It has the
Yeah,
same
but-
geo.
yeah. But when we start talking about volcanoes, dinosaurs, it always lighten up the
Right.
kids' imagination and mind. And
course.
I think it's it's always very high, especially if we, you know, we try to make it interesting by, you know, using the storytelling method.
Yeah.
If you know the technique of read aloud. So we pick several, you know, fantasy books or story books for children that has the nature or geoscience aspects in it, and we use it to, you know, as an introduction. We read it aloud to the children, and then afterwards, after we already grasp their attention, we can then, you know, instill the scientific side of things to them, uh, with more terminology and stuff like that. And always, geology is a very visual and spatial subject, and it needs, you know, video representation and colorful. We always use that kind of method.
Yes.
And I think that it's especially important, especially since in Indonesians we live in the ring of fire, and I think that there is a certain uncertainty or fear that people live if they don't understand something. The less you understand something, the more you might be scared of it. And I think if you understand geology a bit more, especially for young ones, then you'll be able to understand more what to do when there's any kind of a natural disaster. And speaking of any potential disasters, let's go to Abang, back to Abang for a minute. Abang, what are some of the biggest impacts of these frequent earthquakes that we have been experiencing as of late?
So I think the biggest impact, of course, is casualties. So that's why, like, disaster management and our knowledge or information about the condition what we're living on is very, very important. So it's not only like people lives, but also economically. Even geology can also relate to the climate change. So there are lots of things that is related to geology. Yes.
Of course. Now, so in your point of view, is there anything that we can actually do to reduce the disaster potential itself?
Yes, the main thing that we have discussed before is we need to know condition where we're living on, and we first step is the information. So that's why I think the good thing about the Sekolah Bumi is want to get like people's, especially children, knows about the Indonesian geology, because apart from you know the disaster that might happen related to it, but we can also get a good thing for example, natural resources. So it's like you know, a size of the coin. So if we know better about our conditions, so we can plan better. For example, for the disaster management, we know what we should do if for example, if an earthquake might happen. So we have better prepared, not get panicked. So we can reduce the risk or the hazards from the earthquake itself.
Yeah, even though the earthquakes have been frequent so far in 2022, there haven't been any deadly reports or anything that's gone too far. However, it's still a little bit concerning. You know, we felt it several times here as well, once even in the studio. So in your analysis or in your opinion, Abang, what do you think was going to be happening in Indonesia and in around Southeast Asian area looking at the current Earth's condition?
For the current Earth conditions, so we know that moving is always Earth is always moving, so it's not only recently. But I think it's one of the things why we think that it's become more and more active at the moment, because now we are more aware. We can get more information easily from the apps. We can get the early warning systems. We can get it from any kind of social. So I think there's another good thing about this. But of course, we have to plan on how we react to it. We cannot get panicked, because that's also one of the main thing that causing the casualties, because people get panicked. So my suggestion, as long as we know condition where we're living on, and then we try to find out on how we can mitigate, on how we can react if that happen. But in the future, of course, we living in the area where it's tectonically active. As you can see, we got the area where there are three plates like connect each other in Indonesia. So of course, in the future we have to get a better education or literation about the disaster itself.
Agreed.
So I think not to worry, because I think now the government also realized that we need to get a better monitoring system and better early warning system for people to know if something might happen.
Of course, agreed. Now, going back to Risa, tell us a little bit more about this Sekolah Bumi. If I am to put my child for you to educate her more about this geology, is it possible or not? Well, she's 10 at the moment. What is the earliest age that your school can actually accept little kids?
We actually have a lot of programs, but mostly today we target the youngsters at 4 to 10 or 12.
Ooh, okay, she's in then.
So, of course, you can join it, yeah.
Okay.
Just check out our social media at Instagram at Sekolah Bumi, and
Yeah.
for upcoming programs from our school.
No worries,
Very
because
cool.
after the show, obviously, I'm going to ask the crews here for your phone number. I will contact you ASAP after this.
Anyway, to both of you,
All right.
happy Geologist Day. It's
Yes.
been great and insightful to have you both on the program
Of
today.
course,
Really
thank you
appreciate your
so
time.
very much for the insights,
you.
both of you. Okay, stay
welcome.
healthy,
Thank you.
stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
You too. Bye bye. Thank
Bye.
you.